Star Wars The Force Awakens, leading up to The Rise of Skywalker, which comes out on Thursday. Very looking forward to that. Now let's talk about Star Wars The Force Awakens, which released back in 2015, was the first of the Disney-released Star Wars films, directed by J.J. Abrams, and let's talk about this movie. It introduces a lot of new characters and brings back a lot of the old, brings back a lot of familiar stuff, by also giving us a new generation of Star Wars to talk about. And I love this film. I've always loved this film. This is easily one of the most rewatchable in the saga, one of the best directed in the saga. It's probably my fourth favourite. I don't think it matches up quite to... I think it's as good as the original trilogy films, but I still like A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi more than this. But this is far better than any of the prequels. This is the best Star Wars film we could have got from this movie. I have a few nitpicks with it, and I'll get them out of the way later in the video, but they're literally really small. Let's talk about everything I love about The Force Awakens, which might take a while, and if you've never seen The Force Awakens, I mean, you've seen it, but spoilers, I guess. Let's talk about this movie. We get all the new characters. Let's get these out of the way. We have Rey. This is an amazing character. I love the depth they put into this character without her even saying any dialogue, without even knowing her name yet. We still understand everything about this character. A few shots. We get that shot where she looks up at she looks at the ship flying away. She looks at that old woman and realizes, oh, I might be here for the rest of my life, sort of thing. She's a very lonely character. She's not like Luke. She doesn't have a family. She doesn't have people who look after her. She has to look after herself, and that's one of the reasons why she does beat Kylo Ren at the end, why she is so strong. Because Kylo Ren did have people to look after him. We learned in The Last Jedi afterwards that those people did go against him. And Kylo Ren is also a really great character, a really conflicted character. He's conflicting between light and the dark, and he doesn't just walk out. He's very intimidating at the start of this movie. And as we gradually see more of him as a person, he becomes a lot more relatable as a character, and he's sort of adjusting to everything. He's sort of not okay with everything that's happening. I love that character. I love what they do with Kylo Ren in this movie, because he's just such a conflicted villain. He's untrained. He's such a great character, and, you know, I love that scene where he takes off his mask. You're expecting this big reveal, and it's not. It's just a guy under there. And you're just like, what? And a lot of people will be like, huh, but that's how it's supposed to make you feel. It's supposed to make you feel this is just a guy. And it's amazing. And him being the son, of course, of Han Solo and Leia, I thought was very compelling and made for a switcheroo on the turns. Usually it's the fathers that are evil. No, now it's the son. And the scene where he kills Han Solo is amazing. And it leads me into some of the excellent direction in this film with some of the lighting. The lighting in this movie is excellent. I love the lighting in this film because it uses reds and blues to tell the mood of this story. And it does that excellently in the scene where he kills Han, which is a really emotional moment. It really is filled with sadness, that moment, because you know what's going to happen as soon as he screams the word Ben from across the room. You instantaneously know Kylo Ren's probably going to kill him. And it's a very intense moment and emotional moment because Kylo Ren is conflicting it within him. He doesn't know whether to kill his father or not. And then as soon as the red light beams across his face, you know in that moment that he is going to kill him, and he does, and it's very sad. And Han in this movie is phenomenal. Harrison Ford is the best he's ever been here. He is fantastic. He's probably even more developed than he is in the first three films, because in the first three films, he was a very cocky person. He was very unaware of everything that's going on with the Force and everything like that. And this one, he comes to realize that. He's a lot wiser of a character in this movie.
It's true. All of it.
Han Solo is still a really angry person in this movie, and it's great to see him and Chewie again. I mean, I love those two. They're great characters, but they have developed over the time, and they actually do add a lot of humor to this movie. And Force Awakens actually has a lot of amazing humor. I actually think this is a really funny movie, and the humor always works. We have BB-8 sticking his fingers up at Finn, going the thumbs up thing with his lighter. You have Kylo Ren smashing the hell out of the side of the Star Destroyer, getting so angry, and the stormtroopers walking away. You have Rey's little mind trick on Daniel Craig. You know, there's a lot of great moments in there, The Force Awakens, that do make me laugh, but the film is also filled with quite a lot of intensity because of the way J.J. Abrams directs this film and the way the film is consistently fast-moving, and it's really engaging. And I love these main characters. We have Finn, who's a stormtrooper who helps Poe escape after this traumatizing thing that happens to him. He finally realizes, adds a lot of depth to these stormtroopers. I actually like that first moment where Rey actually kills one of the stormtroopers just before Finn says that he's a stormtrooper, and Rey has that little look of, oh my god, like, I just killed someone who Finn used to be, and it's just like, is that look on her face that I really appreciate, and then she just goes out and shoots a bunch of other stormtroopers. And it's because of these characters are given so much depth in this film, and it's really fantastic to see that in a Star Wars film again. I mean, yay, J.J. Abrams, you did a great job directing this film. And the action sequences are so exciting. The scene where the Millennium Vulcans come back, it's not like a fan service moment. It is, but I mean, it's there just to add extra to the scene. And that action sequence is very thrilling because it never removes itself from the characters. It never focuses on spectacle. It focuses on the characters in their situation, having a great time. And that's what makes The Force Awakens so entertaining and so rewatchable as well, because it's so in the moment. It's not like there's loads of different things happening at once. There's loads of like different storylines happening at once. You know, go to this planet, go to this planet. It's sort of a film that always focuses on our main characters on this one adventure. There's not like 3 adventures happening at once, 3 battles happening at once. It's so in the moment, which makes Force Awakens a really fast-paced Star Wars film, like A New Hope. And that definitely has the comparisons to A New Hope. All the Star Wars films have comparisons to one another, but this one is quite similar to A New Hope. But I feel that needed to happen. It needed to feel familiar to get people back into this franchise and love it again. And I feel that was a really interesting thing that this movie did, and a lot of people do criticize that, and that's fine. You can criticize that, you know, but I must admit that I feel that this film played it safe to immerse you back into this world, and that's what this film does. It really does immerse you. You know, I've seen this movie like 20 times, and like every single time I'm still immersed into this film. I'm immersed into these characters, and I love watching this film. The visuals are spectacular. When they use CGI, it's great, but they do use practical effects as well. The CGI isn't over everything, you know. The sets are real, and like some of the creatures are real. They don't use CGI for every goddamn thing like the prequels do. It's a good mixture actually between the prequels and the originals. It definitely feels a lot more like the original trilogy, which is great, mainly due to the characters and the pacing and the look of everything. And the look of it is quite familiar as well. Like, you have the Death Star, Starkiller Base thing, and Snoke, that all feel very familiar, and those are my 2 little problems with this movie. Starkiller Base just doesn't really have an impact. It feels just like another Death Star. Yes, it's bigger, and Han Solo actually jokes about that in this movie. It doesn't really have a power to it. I wish they just found something else to do instead of just doing that again. But it made sense for the story. It made sense that if there was another Empire, they would do another Death Star that was bigger. It makes sense. But they still don't learn the lesson. No, the ways of destroying these Death Stars just keep getting easier and easier. I wish there was more of a challenge, but I don't really mind that because again, it focuses on our main characters on the ground rather than the spaceships in the sky. And the spaceship battles in here are amazing. The scene where the Millennium Vulcan flies with the TIE fighters on Jakku, one of my favorite Star Wars action sequences. I also love the action scene with the Rathtars. It's so much fun. It's so different. We haven't really seen something like that in Star Wars before, and it was very, very exciting to see again because it got you caring about Rey and Finn from the moment we meet them. The moment we see that guy put his hand across Finn's face like that, and the blood was on his stormtrooper face, and he was just freaking out on the battlefield. From that moment, you automatically care for that stormtrooper. From the moment we see Poe, we know he automatically cares about this situation. He cares about finding this map to Luke. He cares about finding his droid. And Poe is such a badass here. I love Poe. He's not in the movie for quite a while, and then he comes back. But I felt that needed to happen. I feel that he had to leave the story for that amount of time. And Rey was also a really, really investing character who was a different character. It wasn't another Luke. It wasn't another Anakin. She was a really amazing Jedi that felt she did have some power to her, but she doesn't really know what power she's got. And it's her discovering that power, which I appreciated, and then it explaining it in the next films. And The Force Awakens is a film that, yes, does end on a literal cliffhanger. The whole movie's about finding Luke Skywalker, and the end of the movie, she finds him on the edge of a cliff. Of course, we know how that ends now, after seeing The Last Jedi. But, I mean, what a great literal cliffhanger. I mean, it's a perfect to-be-continued ending, and it leaves you wanting so much more, because this film allows you to care for the characters again. It allows you to get immersed back into the story, and then when this story just halts at that moment, it feels so perfect. and feels like Episode 8 should start straight after. And it makes everything feel so urgent and fast-moving. Instead, there's not really a dull moment in this entire film. It's all so quick. The lightsaber battle is really amazing. The music is fantastic. Some of the new themes are amazing. Kylo Ren's First Order theme is amazing. The Resistance theme is very memorable. And Rey's theme is just so amazing. I tune that all the time. I love Rey's theme in this movie. And we also get a lot of the original Star Wars scores. Poe again, best pilot in the galaxy, when he's goddamn shooting all of those stormtroopers and TIE fighters on the ground on Takodana. I've got chills across my entire body. When the Millennium Falcon's flying and shooting those bleeding TIE fighters, I've got chills across my entire body. I just love seeing X-Wings and TIE fighters again. Yay! That's just exciting to me, just seeing those again. You know, and you could say it's fan service, but this movie, the fan service doesn't come at expense to the story or the characters. The characters exploring things new and exciting. The characters all feel fresh. They don't feel like rehashes of things we've seen before, even though the story is familiar to A New Hope and the structure is familiar. It is technically a different film with different feelings and emotions that it puts across. And I love The Force Awakens. I think this is a really exciting Star Wars film, a really, really entertaining and immersive film that besides some nitpicks and some little things, but the thing is with this movie, sometimes I watch it and those nitpicks don't bother me in the slightest. And then the other times I watch it, the nitpicks quite bug me. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But sometimes they bug me and sometimes they don't. But, you know, and I don't really have any big major flaws with this film. There is nothing here to complain about. I just have a few nitpicks sometimes. Sometimes I watch things and I notice them and I'm like, yeah, there's a little problem there, but I don't really care because I'm just so invested and so excited. And it gets me amped about Star Wars. It gets me amped about this new generation. And again, I love the characters. A lot of people don't, but I do. And I can't wait to see how they end them in The Rise of Skywalker. But Force Awakens is a really, really amazingly directed Star Wars film. I think this and Empire Strikes Back are the two best directed Star Wars films. Just the shots here are immense and amazing. Every single shot is adding to the intensity and giving us something awesome to look at, while also giving us heart and emotion and humour and fun and fan service and everything coming together, making one extremely exciting Star Wars film. There aren't many issues with The Force Awakens at all. BB-8 is really cute. Kylo Ren is very developed and very conflicted. And it's a different sort of villain. We actually get a lot more development for Kylo Ren in this film than we do for Darth Vader in New Hope. The Force Awakens, I love it. I mean, I do. And all these years later, I really, really love this film. I'm invested in it. Out of the 4 Disney Star Wars films they've made, this is easily my favourite one. I love The Force Awakens. On entertainment value, this is far up here. On quality value, it's just a little bit below, because again, there are a few little nitpicks I can find with it. The Force Awakens is a really satisfying movie, a movie I love to watch, and, you know, a film with such amazing rewatch value, because it is just so entertaining. I'm gonna give Star Wars The Force Awakens an A. I'm also gonna give this movie a 10 out of 10. As I said, on entertainment, there are no flaws to be found. I have a few nitpicks, but I don't care. I love this film. I adore it. I have such a great time every time I sit down and watch this film. I get excited every time I sit down and watch this movie. And guys, comment down below your opinions on the Star Wars The Force Awakens. And of course, thanks for watching, and goodbye.